What is going on, everybody? It is JCDallas, and welcome to the start of a brand new series on my channel. This is my Colorado Rockies franchise. In this episode, we are going to be going over our team roster, why I picked the Rockies out of every other team in baseball, and what to expect from this franchise as far as videos are concerned. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get this thing started. Now, there's really three main reasons why I picked the Rockies for my franchise. The first reason being their starting lineup. I just love the potential of this lineup. There's so many great hitters, plus we have so many prospects in the minor leagues that I think that this roster can really make a playoff run in the near future. The second reason why I picked the Rockies is because of Coors Field. Coors Field is known for putting up the most runs out of any other ballpark in baseball, so to be able to play 81 games in that stadium is just awesome. The third reason why I picked this team is because I wanted to pick a team that hasn't really had much postseason success in the past 5+ years or so. And I felt like the Rockies fit that mold pretty well. The Rockies have not made the postseason since 2009, and if you think about it, it's 2017 now, so that's nearly 10 years, 8 years to be exact, since the Rockies were postseason bound. So now that we understand why I picked the Rockies, let's go ahead and take a look at our team roster. We'll start off with our starting pitching, which is one of our rather weak spots on this team right now, as expected considering this ballpark. But we do have some bright spots with John Gray and Antonio Senzatella, German Marquez, and a few other players down in the minor leagues to be excited about, and Kyle Freeland, and also Jeff Hoffman, who's one of the top 50 prospects in baseball for us right now. We also have Tyler Anderson and Tyler Chatwood, but personally, I'm not too big of a fan of either of these guys, though they do have a pretty high overall in this game, so I'm sure they'll be decent enough for us, at least to start the year. Our bullpen is alright. It's not great, but it's also not terrible either. We have Adam Ottavino, Mike Dunn, Jake McGee, and Chad Wallace as the four main arms we'll be probably using the most, along with Chris Rusin and Carlos Estevez to round out the bullpen. Our closer is an elite one in Greg Holland. He'll definitely be a huge part of our bullpen as well. Now let's talk about some of the hitters in our organization, and catcher is not really one of our strong spots. In fact, it's probably our weakest spot on the team right now. I think for now we'll be using Ryan Hanigan, but we also have Dustin Garneau, who is actually a higher overall in this game, but I think I prefer Ryan Hanigan, at least to start the season. I'm going to give Garneau a chance at some point, but for now, I'm going to stick with Hanigan. And our future catcher is probably going to be acquired through a trade, but for now, we'll stick with Hanigan and Garneau. We also have Murphy down in the minor leagues, who has some potential with the B overall, but, I'm not really sold on him either. So we're going to probably have to trade for a long-term catcher. Our first baseman is listed as Mark Reynolds, who has been pretty good in real-life baseball in 2017 so far, but he'll be splitting time with Ian Desmond, and Ian Desmond is actually probably going to be our main first baseman to start the season. And right now, Desmond in this game is listed as a left fielder, but he's going to be pretty much our everyday first baseman, and I'll talk about Desmond in a little bit once we get to left field. But our second baseman is DJ LeMahieu. Here's a guy who is a great contact hitter, but doesn't really have a ton of power. I kind of wish that he did have more power because I'm a big fan of those power bats. I play a lot of fantasy sports, and having power bats definitely helps you win a lot more. But DJ LeMahieu is more of a contact guy and somebody that we could use at the top of the order. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of his, but he gets the job done, so he'll stay at the top of the order. I might experiment with him at the leadoff spot instead of the 2-hole, but for now he's going to be our number 2 hitter, and our lineup might change in the future, but I think for now he's going to be hitting number 2, which you guys will see in a little bit later on in this video. Our third baseman is our best player, the franchise, the guy, Nolan Arenado. He's the all-star of the team, arguably the best third baseman in all of baseball. He's just such a great hitter, somebody we can look forward to seeing every day on this team. And we also have Ryan McMahon, who is a top prospect in our organization, but we might need to find a new position for him. Arenado's not really going anywhere anytime soon, so I'm not really sure what we're going to have to do with Ryan McMahon, but he is somebody that I do like long-term for the Rockies. The shortstop of the Colorado Rockies right now is Trevor Story. Story bursted onto the scene in 2016 after a hot start, helping a lot of fantasy baseball players win their games. At least early in the season he did, but unfortunately he got hurt later on in the year and didn't get to finish the season for the Rockies. Hopefully he can stay healthy for us. I'm expecting big things out of him. I want him to be my number 2 hitter long term, but I think for now we'll keep him in the 7-hole because our lineup is just loaded right now, and 7 seems to be a good spot for him. We also have Brandon Rogers in the minor leagues, who I think is probably better than Story, at least long term, but I don't think he's ready for the major leagues right now, so we're going to keep him in the minor leagues at least to start the year, and probably all of this year as well. Our outfield is probably the best part about this team. In left, we have Ian Desmond, but as I mentioned earlier, Desmond's going to be playing first base for us every day. And also, another quick note about Desmond, if we ever need him to, he can play shortstop for us as well, if something were to ever happen to Trevor Story, whether it be an injury or a potential trade. I don't plan on trading Story, but you never know. Things might happen. We might get a good deal come our way, but for now, Desmond is going to be our first baseman. But in our left field, we will be playing David Dahl in left every single day. David Dahl has all the tools to be a top 20 outfielder, and maybe even more than that. I'm a huge fan of David Dahl, a top prospect in our organization, and I think he's got a bright future, and he's going to move up in our order very quickly if he performs well for us. He's currently listed as a center fielder in this game, but he's definitely going to be our everyday left fielder for now and in the future. Charlie Blackmon is our center fielder. He's our current leadoff hitter, and he's definitely one of the best outfielders in the game. He's probably a top 10 outfielder right now, and he's definitely got all the tools to continue to be a top 10 outfielder. He's got speed, he's got power, he's got everything you want in an outfielder, and he's definitely going to be a staple point of our offense at the top of the order. Our right fielder is currently Carlos Gonzalez. He was once a top 10 outfielder, and he probably still could be, but he's on the decline as he's been aging. He's over 30 years old now, and if our team starts off slow, we might have to think about trading Gonzalez, because we could probably get some good prospects for him. I don't want to trade him right away, but toward the trade deadline, if we are not in playoff contention, he might be somebody being moved. But for now, he's going to be our everyday right fielder, and I do expect big power from Carlos Gonzalez moving forward. Now that we have taken a look at our roster, let's go ahead and take a look at our starting lineup. Charlie Blackmon will be leading off in center field, DJ LeMahieu hitting second, playing second, Nolan Arenado hitting third, playing third, Carlos Gonzalez batting cleanup, playing right field, Ian Desmond at first base, batting fifth. David Dahl in left field, batting sixth. Trevor Story hitting seventh at shortstop. Our current DH is Mark Reynolds, who will bat eighth for now. And Ryan Hannigan will be batting eighth in our everyday lineup. We'll use the same lineup every day, and Hannigan will be hitting eighth for us when there is no DH, and Reynolds will be hitting eighth for us when there is a DH. Now that we know how our lineup is looking, let's take a look at some of the teams in our division. And we currently have the Diamondbacks, the Dodgers, the Giants, and the Padres all in our division. It's probably going to be a very competitive division. I expect the Dodgers to be the favorites, but after that, it'll probably be a three-team race for second place in this division in 2017. The last thing I wanted to go over in this video is the structure of how this franchise is going to work. Now, with there being 162 games in the season, playing every single game would probably take way too much time, and there would just be way too many videos, and I have a solution to that. So rather than playing every single game, we're going to do things a little bit differently here. I like to play one game and then simulate 5 to get to the next man in the rotation, plus we get to play different teams. That way, like I said, we get a taste of every team in baseball, because, in baseball, when you play a season, you play in series, which is usually 3 or 4 games. Sometimes it's 2, or sometimes it's 5. So rather than playing every team 3 times in a row, I think it'd be better for us to play one game and simulate 5. That way we get some variety, plus we get to use every pitcher in our rotation frequently. So I think that would be a good idea for this franchise moving forward. And there might be some times where I don't simulate 5 games. Like, for example, to start the year, I want to play both the home opener and the road opener. So I think that would be a good idea. And also, I might not simulate some points later in the season. Like, for example, if we end a series, I might start the next series without simulating. I'm not sure yet. We'll see how that goes. And there might be some times where I simulate more than 5 games. I might skip an entire rotation, and I might just simulate 10 games instead. We'll have to see. But I think for now, the general format is going to be play 1, sim 5, and play that game. And that's what we're going to pretty much be doing for most of the season. There might be some changes along the way, but for now, that's what we're going to be sticking with. But that's pretty much going to bring us to the end of this video. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to subscribe and be on the lookout toward my next video, which will be opening day up against the Milwaukee Brewers. But until next time, guys, I'm JCDallas signing out. Thanks for watching.